A 14-year-old teenage girl watches all her closest friends drop dead in the snow. But the absolute craziest part is that official historical records say none of this ever happened. If this deeply hidden history is actually true, the universe just completely gaslit its greatest savior. Tonight, we officially uncover a dark 1990s Tokyo secret that almost stayed buried forever. Welcome back to the only channel that happily ruins your childhood nostalgia with absolute brutal truths. Smash that like and subscribe button before the Dark Kingdom wipes our memories. Let us rewind to a time when Tokyo was mostly just neon lights and arcade machines. Normal people walked the bustling streets completely blind to the terrifying invisible war brewing above. The infamous Dark Kingdom was not just an urban myth. They actively hunted and harvested human energy daily. Queen Beryl commanded these terrifying shadow monsters to drain regular citizens dry. They ruthlessly fed that stolen life force to a massive, ancient evil entity, appropriately named Queen Materia. It was literally a perfect system of silent energy extraction operating right under the nose of all humanity. No one fought back because literally no one even knew their energy was being stolen. The world desperately needed an elite strike team, but destiny chose a huge crybaby. I genuinely still do not understand why the universe entrusted its fate to a lazy teen. Usagi Tsukino was exactly the kind of middle school girl who failed every math test. She honestly cared way more about eating snacks and reading manga than saving the world. Then a literal magical talking cat named Luna suddenly crashed into her normal life. Luna literally forced a magical brooch onto Usagi and transformed her into Sailor Moon. Usagi did not strike a cool, heroic pose. She completely panicked and cried out loud. Honestly, I think that is easily the most realistic reaction any normal teenager could ever possibly have. She suddenly possessed this insane magical power now, but she fundamentally lacked the mindset of a soldier. Almost every single night, she had to mentally force herself to fight these genuinely terrifying Yuma demons. She absolutely did not want this burden, but those innocent Tokyo citizens needed her. Can a literal slacker actually step up when human lives are suddenly on the line? Meanwhile, the Dark Kingdom was actively searching everywhere for the absolute ultimate weapon of the cosmos. They called it the Phantom Silver Crystal, a gem with literally boundless power. Usagi quickly realized she could not stop this massive cosmic threat all by herself. Slowly, other normal girls started awakening to their forgotten magical destinies. Ami Mizuno was a timid genius who calculated enemy weaknesses as Sailor Mercury. Rei Hino unleashed blazing fire as Sailor Mars with her fierce temple priestess vibe. Makoto Kino brought brute physical strength and lightning strikes as Sailor Jupiter. Minako Ino joined the squad as Sailor Venus alongside her own cat guide Artemis. They formed a genuinely incredible team, but the stakes kept rising higher every day. A mysterious guy named Tuxedo Mask kept jumping into the middle of their fights. His actual civilian name was Mamoru Chiba, a sarcastic college student who just constantly roasted poor Usagi. They argued constantly, but a strange romantic tension started growing between them. But the wicked Queen Beryl heavily escalated the war and sent her absolute most ruthless generals down to earth. The enemies hit harder and the girls barely survived these brutal street clashes. Will their combined powers actually be enough when the enemy finally goes all out? The ultimate breaking point arrived when Usagi finally awakened as Princess Serenity. She miraculously secured the silver crystal, but the victory came with a massive cost. The Dark Kingdom suddenly captured Mamoru and completely brainwashed his entire mind. Then, the girls remembered their tragic past lives from the ancient Silver Millennium. They were royal bodyguards on the moon, and Serenity loved a prince named Endymion. Endymion was actually Mamoru in his past life, which makes this whole thing tragic. Queen Materia destroyed that peaceful moon kingdom and wiped everyone out entirely. Queen Serenity used the crystal to stop the darkness and send their souls to Earth. She wanted them to live normal lives, but the endless war just followed them here. Usagi now had to face the cruel reality that her ancient nightmare was repeating itself. The team finally tracked the Dark Kingdom base to the freezing wastelands of the North Pole. They bravely marched directly into the blinding snow, fully knowing some of them might never actually come back. The freezing cold winds howled incredibly loudly as they aggressively stepped onto the enemy's frozen territory. They prepared for the final battle, but nothing could prepare them for this ambush. What exactly happens when a teenage girl watches her newfound family face utter doom? Queen Beryl unleashed the Didi Girls, her absolute most ruthless executioner monsters. These terrifying demons did not hold back at all. They immediately and violently targeted the magical soldiers. One by painful one, Usagi helplessly watched her closest friends sacrifice absolutely everything to protect her. Makoto threw herself into the line of fire, and her life tragically ended right there. Ami used her genius to create an opening before she also tragically passed away. Rei unleashed one final fiery blast before her existence was permanently halted. Minako fought with everything she had, but she was eventually destroyed as well. Usagi stood alone in the howling snow, completely surrounded by her fallen friends. She dragged herself forward, forcing her tired legs to face the corrupted Mamoru. She broke his brainwashing, but a fatal energy blast from Beryl ended his life instantly. He collapsed in her arms, adding one more devastating loss to her breaking mind. Queen Beryl unfused with Materia, becoming a gigantic, towering god of destruction. Usagi did not run away. She summoned the phantom silver crystal with steady hands. The spirits of her fallen friends appeared, lending their residual energy to her. She released the ultimate light, clashing directly against the overwhelming darkness. The sheer force of the blast ripped through the frozen tundra and shattered the sky. Beryl and Materia were completely eradicated, entirely wiped from existence forever. But the magical feedback from the crystal was too much for a human body to handle. Usagi smiled softly as the immense power drained the absolute last of her life force. The savior of the universe collapsed onto the cold ice, and her breathing just stopped. The world was finally saved from the darkness, but there was nobody left to celebrate. In her final fading moment, Usagi activated the ultimate wish protocol of the crystal. She did not ask for endless royal power or to rule over the reconstructed universe. She simply wished for her and her friends to live perfectly normal teenage lives. The crystal shattered, releasing a massive wave of temporal rewriting energy across Earth. Time reversed itself, resurrecting the fallen girls and placing them back in Tokyo. Mamoru woke up in his bed, completely unaware that he had just died in the Arctic. Their memories of the entire magical war were entirely erased from their human brains. Honestly, I think wiping their memories was the most brutal tragedy of this entire story. Usagi fought so hard to find her found family, only to make them forget she even exists. They pass each other on the street now, acting like total strangers without any history. She gave up her legendary hero status just so her friends could worry about math exams. If you want more dark truths hiding inside your favorite childhood shows, subscribe now. Leave a comment telling me which classic series I should absolutely ruin for you next. Stay tuned for the next video, because the rabbit hole only gets deeper from here.